What's up, guys? What's up? I'm hosting the video on TikTok. I'm posting the TikTok. I'm on the TikTok.
You're on
Yo.
the TikTok on the clock. Something, something, something. I don't know the rest of the song.
TikTok on the clock. Make it drop?
I don't know how the song
Like the
goes, man.
party
I
don't
did just get a
stop?
notification on Discord.
Alright. What run should
Oh
we
my god,
join?
Taylor Swift got engaged? Dude, that's crazy.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Taylor Swift got engaged to
Oh
Travis.
yeah, I heard about that. I was like, holy cow.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't expecting that, but pop off,
Right?
girl, I guess.
No goob, main only. Why are they like being so like strict about it?
I don't know, every time. It's every time, you know?
What the hell?
I don't know, man. I hate that kind of thing. Everyone's just always complaining. Like, so what? Sheesh.
Let's just start, I guess, what?
You make it. I don't know. Just do a long match.
ABC long run.
ABC, I'm gonna kill everyone.
ABC
Run.
long run.
ABC, I'm gonna accidentally get murdered. Run.
Don't get murdered. Don't get murdered.
You wanna know how slow this character is? I'm a 2-star.
Very fucking slow, I know that.
Yeah, I'm gonna die. I love your VOD channel. This seems very dead.
Uh-huh. It's very dead. Yo,
Yeah, see that? The last video you posted was on
Yo,
the 14th.
it's Neftis!
Who?
It's Neftis.
Oh, heck yeah. I don't remember who Neftis is.
One of the good players I was playing with.
You're like, I don't know who that is, mate. Louis main destructor? Question mark?
Yeah. Man, I'm getting... Oh my gosh, why is my voice cracking? Cracking?
Cracking?
Cracking?
What's cracking, mate?
Crack.
Are you struggling?
I am. My voice ain't wanting to voice. How many people are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One more. One more.
Pebble, oh my lord. Well, it's a destructor. It's an extractor pebble, I think, actually. I don't know. I can't see the trinkets. Yeah,
Pebble has Vimo and Dog Plush. And one of the normal Pebble has Diary and Magnifying Glass.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. 12 trike.
Okay, let's go. I'm going to the shell elevator right now. Go, 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 go.
I can only run so fast. Look at me. I don't
Hell
like
yeah.
this I like V's outfit a lot. V's outfit makes me happy.
I like Louis.
What's up with the Pikachu tail? That's the one I want to know.
It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I like Louis. I like the outfit, but why the Pikachu tail? That's what I don't like about it.
Louis. It's just Louis. Louis Pikachu, guys. Louis goes, Pikachu!
Pipsqueak, yeah, but it's not even free.
Get connected for free. Free with Education Connection. Get connected for free. Free with Education Connection.
Okay, okay. Archiving. What?
Why did they say, oh? It's you? Hello? Was it to me?
Maybe? I don't know.
You, Cosmo, you fucker! You actual fucking asshole! You took that fucking box of chocolates! I swear to fucking God, I'm going to fucking kill your ass. He took a fucking box of chocolates while I was trying to grab him.
Yeah, I saw it.
I'm pissed off now. Because why the fuck would you do that? You do not need a box of chocolates.
Who would need a box of chocolates as a
And
distractor?
he fucking used them! He just used them!
On nothing?
Holy shit, that was fast.
Yeah, we all finished it at like the same time.
Oh my gosh, that was really fast.
Yeah, that was extremely fast. That was kind of scary, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm prose writing out of paragraph right now.
I'm sad now. He fucking took it right whenever I was. What the fuck is solo principal?
How am I supposed to know?
What the hell?
I think that Cosmo may probably be. Oh.
Oh, you saw me
That was
getting
like
this. You saw me trying to get it.
Yeah, what's the what the fuck does that mean? I'm
I
doing
don't
my
know.
job as a V, anyways. It's more. It's mainly the reason why.
Got him. What do you mean main only?
What?
What is Zoe talking about, bro?
Get to Ellie.
Okay.
Get to Ellie.
Astro, why are you at why are you just standing there at broken, bro?
I love how both the pebbles fucking bark. Okay, everyone's at Ellie.
I'm out of stamina.
Oh.
What's up?
What's the?
I just walk in. What the fuck? We do not need any health, bro. None of y'all are hit. Why did one of the pebbles? What? I'm confused. You saw that, right?
Yeah.
Like, huh?
It's like, hello? Only one of us watched HP, mate.
Literally. And that's the distractor. Oh.
Oh, and we have resin dust. Nope. Juice! I'm gonna beat this Cosmo up, I swear to God.
They said Louis. They said Louis.
Well,
They said Louis.
Other two people are
I'm
on the machines.
scared. What, did you see? They didn't see that, did they?
See what?
Me may or may not have taken the, medkit.
I don't think. Oh. It's fine. I doubt the Cosmo would be any help at this point. They're being fucking jerks. I'm sick of this Cosmo. I kind of want to get him killed.
What are they doing? What else are they doing to you?
They stole my machine in front of me as I was running to it. I'm slower than them.
Damn.
And then Pebble was also running to another machine, but it's okay. Despite the slower extracting, I swear to God.
Will the evidence supports the truth? Is that I can't fucking get it.
How much is it?
79.
Oh, I can't get it either.
I have 60.
I'm off by 20. Exactly, I'm exactly 60. Off by 20. I studied!
What does that mean?
No, not very good. Not very good.
Does that mean very good? Lorly.
Yeah. Oh, wait, no, muy bien is very good. Good, I believe.
Shrimpo and Cosmo. Get over here, Shrimpo.
Guys, let me do a machine, please. I want to be.
There's two by the stage.
What
the fuck? What
No,
the
I'm
fuck?
fine.
What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?
I'm not going gremlin. I'm not losing my shit.
Pebble! You just led them. Oh my god.
Died on purpose? Question mark. I'm just gonna stay in here.
I don't know.
And the machines are being used. Pebble's on the last one.
I just watched my friend die. I just watched my friend get murdered. Y'all get the fuck out of the way. I swear to God. Go, 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 Shelly, go, 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 go. Go, Shelly, go, go. Why the fuck is Shrimple all the way over there?
I don't know. Probably because of Yada.
The fuck? I'm so confused.
I'm so confused. I want to kill Cosmo.
Cosmo's at 3 hearts, bro.
I don't care. I
Look
still
at
want to get him
mine.
killed. Yeah, you're on 1.
I'm on 1.
Yeah, I know. I didn't even have to look at your stream. I could tell because your head is so deflated.
Cosmo, I'm tiny. Please give me... Please. Please. I need a heal, thank you.
Oh, Goob's here. Goob's here. Already used my ability.
Cosmo, don't go that way. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Pull, turn, go, 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 go. We got this. We got this. We got this. I got this. I've lost count. Fuck. Okay, he pulled.
Well, the machine's almost done.
3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh my god, don't tell me it's being done by a couple.
It lose. 9, 10. I'm gonna lose him.
Okay, yep, you can come to Ellie. Come to Ellie. Everyone's here.
Okay. That honestly, one day I really do want to try hosting a machine cruncher run.
A what?
Machine cruncher or machine crusher. It's where you just basically speed run.
See, for that you would need Glisten with the diary trinket, as well as V with the diary trinket.
And you'd also need
Ellie,
you'd also need a distractor so that they don't get hurt.
Well, yeah, that'd be you.
Yeah.
And then for stamina, I'd say just Astro, but have like the extracting trinkets on.
Yeah.
That's everything else. So, other than that, yeah, you're pretty much set.
What are the Twisteds? I see Cosmo. Oh fuck! It's Rabies, baby.
Yeah, Rabies child's here. There's a medkit for Cosmo to take, but Cosmo did not take it, or did not see it apparently.
No, get the fuck over here! Toodles, get your ass over here. Oh, I lost the other one. I lost the other one.
My,
Oh, hey Cosmo.
Cool. I was about to say, I'm on cooldown, mate.
Okay,
Cosmo didn't even bother grabbing the medkit. They literally saw it and just didn't grab it.
Someone did say medkit. Medkit here. Hey, Astro.
They literally ran past it. That's the thing.
I think Shelly's taking it.
Shelly, you can have it if you want it, man. Nah, I don't even care.
What
Hell,
the fuck?
Cosmo. Hit me. Okay, then take it. Jesus. If you don't take it, I'll take it. Broken Ellie.
I'm going to Broken, by the way.
Yeah, I can see you. I see you being chased.
I don't think there's any really... Yada, what the fuck are you doing? Get the fuck away from me.
I'm about ready to snatch this medkit. If no one snatches it, can I have it?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. I'm waiting for my time to shine. Cosmo, you gonna take it? You ran past it? Okay, Cosmo took it.
Okay.
Jesus Christ. Because I was thinking, what the fuck? You know, oh, Pebble's on the last machine. We should all go to Ellie.
Get your ass to the elevator. Damn.
I'm going. I'm running. I made it.
Okay.
We're waiting on oh wait, no, we're just waiting on the Yada. Okay, you're good.
I'm gonna beat her. Yo! I beat her. Shelly, get the fuck in. Who else is hit?
Who in the world would want spare change? We don't even have a Sprout here, man.
Right.
We don't even have a Sprout. So what's the point of that?
Money.
Money, literally. They just want money. It's like, excuse me, most of us have
Money.
You literally have almost the same amount of money as me.
I have 123. What was the other twisted?
Shrimpo.
Shrimpo and Boxy Boo. I'm never gonna say that again.
Sorry, I had shrimp on me for a second. That's my bad. I
I
was trying to get
saw
to a
that.
machine, but everyone's like on them, so I can't really get to one, you know?
Ugh, everybody's too good. There's one over here, though.
I found one. Yeah, I
I'm
found
trying to
one.
find where the fuck Boxton went.
Who the
Oh,
hell
he's
knows at
all
this
the way.
point?
We're playing Ring Around the Rosie, bro. I gotta wait for Shrimpo to catch up because he's so fucking slow. I need to
Why are
get
you
the
spinning
fuck away
around? You
from
want
the
me to shoot
elevator.
you?
I need to get away from the elevator, bro. I really need to get away from the elevator.
Yeah, just get to Ellie. We gotta get to Ellie, gang. Where's good Ellie? Watch the chocolate.
Uh,
I'm walking to it, don't worry.
I don't know how to describe it. I would just say in the front.
Yes, very useful, Sid. In the front. So useful. Okay, everyone's base. Yeah, everyone's here.
Hi there.
Hi. You gonna come in? Hablas español. No habla español. Sorry. Sí. You didn't even use the right thing for C, by the way. It's with that little dash on the I, you know?
No. No Espanol, unfortunately.
Oh,
I
español.
took French in high school.
I took a little bit of French in middle school, but, you know.
I took French, and then that information got thrown out the window.
That's so real. So much Spanish for me, to be honest with you. I took Spanish for 2 years and I haven't been paying attention when I know
Who
I
are
kept
these
sleeping.
twisteds? Oh,
Blot.
hey, Blot.
Yeah.
Louis! Louis! Get your ass over here! Yay, you got a machine!
Yeah, I got a machine. I don't
You
sound happy
sounded
about it.
so unhappy. Why
You're
is
not getting my
Yana
machine. There's a
doing
machine
that?
right behind you. Go grab it. I am not doing. No, no.
Pebbles
Listen,
got
Yada,
his thinking cap.
I will break you. I will find a bat and I will break your head open. That's what I thought. Sorry,
Damn!
I got beef with Yadas right now, man. And this Cosmo. I got some beef.
Damn!
Sorry. I'm sorry. My bad.
Get him in the elevator!
Yada's on the last one, basically. Yeah, Yada's on the last one. It's almost done.
Okay.
Finish your machine before I beat your head in, Yada. Jesus Christ. We don't have time for this. Okay, everyone's at Ellie. Got it. Stop pick up the
Damn!
goddamn stealth candy and get your butt in here. Oh wait, I forgot about Cosmo.
You forgot about
bad.
Cosmo, dude.
My bad.
Ooh, suppression.
Oh, yeah, I got suppression. Better for you, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because I hate whenever, especially whenever I'm. Are you fucking kidding me?
Gang.
Gang. Bro.
Gang.
Y'all.
If anything, leave Cosmo for dead. They didn't vote, so just kill him.
Grief, bro. Louis
I would've.
Spear and Yada. Hey, we had Blot last floor. Number stations becomes radiation. The dog bites the postman. I think Louis in there. Oh my god, the Roger's here too.
Oh, yeah,
Guys, get the fuck out of the way. Get out of the way. 15. Stop edging Roger. Jesus, it's not that hard. Yeah. There's one by the broken, by the way.
Yeah, I can get it. You just gotta be careful around me, just by me having more stealth.
Yeah. You have more stealth?
Yeah, I have the diary on.
Oh, okay.
So it increases my stealth by 25%.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's only gotcha.
I told you I wasn't gonna get in your way of distracting.
Okay, so that means that I can just go by you then. So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, what's up?
Really. Yeah, hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up?
What's up? Anyways,
What's up?
I'm almost done. I forgot to say it to Ellie, but you know what? I don't care. They can suffer and die a horrible fate.
Yeah, they just opened Roger again.
Oh my god, gang. How do you feel this bad at with Roger? It's not even that hard to avoid. Okay, everyone's here. I wish Cosmo were still out the elevator though.
What?
I have beef with Cosmo right now. I
Oh
got
my
beef with
gosh.
Cosmo.
Oh my gosh. Bro literally has beef with Cosmo.
I
It's
have beef
only
with this Cosmo.
culture. It's only culture.
Let's see how
It's
long this beef
only
can go on for until they actually die.
culture's not your friend. Hey, fuck your culture. I ain't got no culture. It's only culture and it's more afraid of you than your Lindo?
What's a Lindo?
Who's Lindo?
Who's Lindo?
Who's Lindo?
You mean Linda?
Hi, Cosmo.
From the Brush
Poppy.
Poppy and
Cosmo.
Yeah.
It's Kaufmo from the Amazing Digital Circus.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta get out of the way, get out of the way, get out of the way, get your fucking ass out of the way. Get out of the way, get away from me.
See, I was gonna do the magnifying glass and the vanity mirror, but then I'm like, I don't want to get in your way of distracting, so I'm just gonna use the diary. So, I mean, I still have like hella fast extraction regardless, but you know.
I'm leaving. Yada's gone.
Oh,
Yada left.
Oh, fine. Well, at least we got one person out the way. Time to get the other one.
Dude.
I got beef with this Cosmo, man. I'm telling you. I got beef. I got beef with like 2 people here. One of them's gone. Now gotta get the other one gone.
God damn.
I'm alright with the Shelly, the Pebble, and the Astro. Oh, and you, so.
And me. Me too. Don't forget about me. My voice is not wanting to work.
Okay, everyone's at Ellie. Come to Ellie.
Gosh, my voice ain't wanting to work.
There's mine. This day is going to be perfect.
I think we need well-paced.
You know what would be funny if everyone went with spare change? You know how funny that would have been? Everyone just being like, yeah, let's have some spare money.
Can you distract Pebble? What if I just say no?
Yes, I can.
No. I'm gonna say no, and then immediately, like, whenever Pebble, like, does come.
Oh.
When Pebble comes, I'm gonna just be goated.
They accepted their fate as ready to die. I found a band-aid.
I'm gonna grab it.
Yeah, you can have
Aw, motherfucker.
What? Huh?
Boxton hit me.
No. Oh. I got boxed in. I got boxed in.
Yeah, I know, I'm sorry. Got him. Roger's right here.
Okay. I won't touch it.
I don't know who else is here.
I don't know.
I thought there was one more.
Oh, there should be. No, you're only stuck with 3 for now, still.
Okay. Hey, Astro.
Astro, your stamina would have been helpful and useful a while ago, mate.
Pebble's doing the machine you were on.
Yeah, I know, it's okay. I don't mind, I'm not bothered by it. Ba-da-da-dum. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Matter with you,
Like,
everyone's at Ellie.
Thing comes to those who wait. It's only too late to embrace.
Roger.
Wait.
I just sound like Roger opened. Can someone get into the gu-
Oh my god.
Yay.
Oh my fucking god.
Pebble, that's your fault, Pebble.
These people are idiots.
We got a box of chocolate.
Shit, I'm just gonna use this band-aid if Cosmo doesn't heal me. Unless if there's Pebble. I'm gonna say JK. Oh, no way. I did the UI thingy. Okay, phew. At least I know how to change that now.
Yeah.
I just said JK. I wonder if they're gonna realize that. Oh my gosh, they did. Why are you immediately running that way, bro?
Well, I was gonna go to the mid. Oh, I got Cosmo on me.
I'm heading back to the middle. Just get him to me. Thank you.
You lost Louis, by the way.
How? What the fuck? I
How?
literally just had him.
Yeah.
Bro.
There's another band-aid. Do you mind if I take it, or do you want Cosmo to have it?
I think Cosmo might need it. Just in case, because we are at floor 12, and they're still alive somehow.
I kind of wish they weren't. I mean,
Oh my
who said
gosh.
that?
You
Who said
got
that?
beat because they fucking... if they're a main,
Well,
bring to
okay.
elevator during panic.
Pebble took it.
Okay. Pebble took
Pebble
it.
took the band-aid. I wanted the band-aid. What if I wanted the band-aid? It's okay, Pebble. I won't say anything. Don't worry. I won't tattletale on you.
Everyone at elevator. What do you mean?
Death. I think they mean everyone did Callie.
Everyone at elevator.
That's an elevator, dumbasses.
I can drink your
Something
blood
is
if you
fishy.
let me, baby. Hang from your rafters, patchwork and paisley. I can suck you dry on the rocks with a twist, but
Cosmo, you're
just
back.
like a vampire, I don't exist.
Cosmo, stop! Get your butt back in the goddamn elevator before I will spell you to the next highest
Oh,
bidder.
this is a big thing. Oh, I love surprise.
I thought you would want more suppression, so. Because we avoided it last time.
What?
Because we avoided the suppression last time, because no one else wanted it.
No? Well, yeah.
Yeah, so I thought you'd want suppression.
Shelly! Shelly! My name is Shelly, and I'm Michelle. Yeah, be my best friend. My name is V, without a T.
I'm scared to be walking in this dark, I'm not gonna lie to you.
R&D is also here.
Yeah, I see him.
Yeah. I'm walking in him.
Yeah, I'm gonna... If anyone, like, aggroes him, I'm gonna immediately get hit.
Yeah.
Which is not a good thing. Because I want to be able to hide from him, you know?
Then reanimate me, prove it to me, baby. Things I've met.
All the machines are on the other side of the map. There you go, have some glow.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're back good, Ellie.
Okay. Because they want me to bring Shelly to the elevator during panic. I don't know why, because this is a long run. Like, you should have their research already.
Yeah.
Just let me know whenever everybody's at the elevator.
Well, so far 3 people are in a machine. Okay, so Shelly's almost done with theirs, and then Astro's on the lab.
Okay.
I hit a fucking shelf. Okay, Cosmo's at Ellie. I don't know where the fudge Pebble is.
He's walking by me.
Why?
I don't know. I think he's heading to the elevator, though.
Get to the elevator, Pebble, before I beat you.
Get your ass to the elevator, bro.
Look at beat up a dog. But I will beat up Cosmo. Okay, everyone's at Ellie. Shelly, you don't need Shelly research. You're already Shelly, girl.
So bright in here. Oh my gosh, my eyes.
Yeah,
my
sorry,
eyes.
We have bright tunes.
My eyes. My poor, poor eyes.
You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine.
I don't know why, but my voice is just cracking. Am I going through puberty again?
Hello? Oof.
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 Oof. Is it V? God fucking damn it. Oh, you gotta be shitting me. Are you fucking kidding me? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Pebble, you motherfucker, you idiot. You're gonna get yourself killed. Well, I'll grab scraps then. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. She's gonna pull. Okay. He fucking grabbed them and then lost them. Are you fucking kidding me? You fucking idiot. You fucking idiot.
Louie, no, Louie, no, Louie, no, Louie. No, and I got... Okay.
I'm gonna focus on scraps because Pebble took them all away.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. It's okay. I'm just trying to lose them right now.
7, 8, 9.
Because I know I can handle, like, 11, at least being chased by, and losing them, so it's
3,
fine.
4, 5.
No,
6,
no!
7.
Oh my god, game,
8,
please.
9, 10.
They're gonna try latching them onto
11,
you, I think.
12.
So just be careful. Pebble, I swear to God. Pebble, I will beat you up.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Eight, 9. Motherfucker. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I could really use some stamina, guys.
Dude, just get to elevator at this point. No one's really...
Fuck.
Alright.
I'm so sorry, Astro. Holy fuck.
Oh, look at that, I'm slow. Why does Astro want to go gambling? Where'd Astro go? Oh, he's over there.
Who is it? Who is it? Okay. It might be Roger.
Probably, yeah.
Get the fuck away from here, Pebble. Genuinely. Thank you, Ko-Fi Bot.
And someone went AFK.
Oh my gosh.
Just gonna make a quick turn, sorry. Who decides to go AFK floor 15?
Literally. Imagine if protagonist just died in the first scene. A tragedy and comedy. Don't come at me. I'm the main character and you have to like me. I think they're gonna pop it. Oh yeah, Shelly's definitely gonna pop this shit. Just watch. I'll watch Shelly just pop. Well, she was the one that actually said don't pop last, so she's in charge of not popping last. Get your ass to the elevator. Go.
I'm working on it. I'm being careful of you, though.
Get.
I'm going.
Ooh,
No.
scary. Holy shit, I
Oh
almost
my
just
God.
killed myself.
Yeah, that's your fault.
Shelly, how are you at 1? Was it because of last floor? Because Pebble decided to be a dumbass?
Probably.
And then immediately go AFK after? That makes sense.
Pebble was the one that went AFK.
Yeah, Pebble was the one that, like, because it was 1-2 strike, or 1-2 trike, or 1 strike, or whatever you, however you say it.
Yeah, let's figure out here. We should have popped it.
Yeah.
Shelly, you're too nice.
Shelly,
you're too nice. Good, Shelly.
Shelly, you're way too nice. Stop being nice. I need to see if it's Pebble this floor. Oh, we have 5 now?
Yep.
Are you kidding me? If you find any, please try to bring them to me. There's a band-aid over there, I think. I'm actually...
If you find it, yeah, if they're gonna find me first before I find them. Oh.
Pebble fucking took it!
Of course.
Pebble fucking took the band-aid!
Oh my God. Where are you? So I can take Louie
Broken.
to you? Oh, yeah, broken. Okay, come on, Louie. We're going
to the side. I'm... Oh my gosh, why did they latch off? Fuck, I'm dead. Holy shit, how did I not die?
I'm asking myself that too. Where am I? Where are you? You're over here.
Did you see that though? Oh, I'm dead. Holy shit!
Dude, that's scary. I'm still scared, but you know
what?
I'm
scared. I'm also scared. I'm scared. How did that happen? How did I not get hit twice? I just had 2 close calls.
That was so scary.
Oh, I think Shelly was the one that died.
Yeah.
Holy shit, though. How did I not die?
I don't know, but that scared me.
How did I not die? Holy cow.
Oh, that was a stuff candy. I thought that was a fucking band-aid. I was gonna be like...
Yeah, I was trying to grab the band-aid and Pebble fucking took it right in front of me.
Of course.
Like, bro. Do you want to fucking distract? Do you?
At this point, let them. They're gonna probably not to, but you know.
That was terrifying, though. That was terrifying, though. Oh, oh. I say goodbye to a blackbird. I say goodbye to my own words. She's an unlucky girl who could save her. This disease that she has, there's no cure. The steel is kissing her head now.
Why didn't they just do it?
What?
Pebble was like right next to the last machine.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm still trying to regain my stamina, by the way, so this is gonna be interesting. To say the least. Let's see how much stamina I can get back before finishing this machine.
But, like, Pebble literally saw me going for the band-aid, and he grabbed it right in front of me. Like, do you fucking want your distractor to die?
Apparently so. Everyone's at Ellie, I guess? Oh, thank God the Cosmo's gone. I mean, who said that? You guys should apologize.
an answer.
You're not gonna get one.
I want a fucking answer.
You're not gonna get one.
Who's here?
Demon child.
Yep. Oh, there is one over here, though. Come on, Tisha. Thank you. Okay, I need to get one more. I think it's Finn.
Yep.
I think Astra just died.
Oh, I thought it was you.
Yep, Astra just died.
Well.
God damn it, we have to deal with that pebble? Are you kidding me?
Yep.
Ugh.
I forgot that I didn't have the whistle on, so I was like, why am I getting slowed? I was so confused. I'm like, why am I slowed? I was so used to having the whistle. Pebble, you better do these machines too before I will find a rock crusher and use it on you. I will threaten the splashing rock. Don't think I won't. I will kill Pebble.
Oh my gosh.
Let's be real, this Pebble sucks.
Yeah, bro literally took a band-aid like that I was trying to go for. Bro has not even distracted. Bro does not have any distractor trinkets, and bro is not even distracting.
I don't even think bro's doing machines.
I know
he is.
Yeah, it's an extractor pebble, but at the same time, why did he bark earlier? Like, he barked earlier, got all of the twisteds, and then immediately dropped them. Like, if you're gonna do that, at least lead him to me so that I can take him back. 'Cause you saw that I had scraps. Like, you obviously saw I had scraps.
Yeah.
Or if anything, just take V. That would have been amazing. Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up?
Bark.
Use the stealth candy. Yeah, the dog's barking. Bless you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Your dog said, your dog said, you're welcome.
No, she's just barking at nothing. I don't know. My mom's getting tired of the dog, by the way. Not my dog. Bless you. Not my precious little puppy.
Allergies.
I know, allergies.
Oh
suck.
shit, that's you. That's you.
Oh my god.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. That was scary, but it's okay.
Just run.
I don't really have that much stamina, but I'm running as fast as I can. That was horrifying.
I didn't realize you were right there.
I was like, why is there a light coming towards me? As I was trying to...
Why is there a light coming towards me?
And then I see Demon Child go through the door. I'm like, oh shoot.
Oh shit.
I was like, oh damn, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna buy that Jawbreaker too.
I don't want to use this med kit.
I would save it until...
Yeah.
You know? I'd just save it. Unless you, like, desperately need it.
Who's here? Connie, Finn, Shrimpo.
Probably Roger.
Yeah, I see Rogers. I'm doing...
Oh, I got Finn. Okay, hi Finn.
What the fuck, Pebble? You fucking idiot. You actual idiot. You fucking idiot. Do you want to distract, bro? Do you want to distract? I don't have Finn on me anymore. You fucking idiot. You fucking idiot. He's killing himself. That fucking idiot. That fucking idiot.
Oh. Couple died?
Yep.
Okay, so it's just me doing machines. Great. Well, I mean, at least I do them at a quick pace, but being slowed down right now is not helping.
Right. I don't know who else is here, though.
Connie.
Besides Connie.
Roger.
Because I'm pretty sure there should be 5.
Because it doesn't highlight the Roger capsules. The Roger capsule.
Yeah, but I have only 2.
Yeah, plus Connie. Connie don't count, and then there'd be 4, so yeah, it's probably Roger.
Right.
So, you're fine.
Yeah, I literally got the air horn, blew the air horn, and then he decided... He literally decided to just, like... Like, what the fuck? Here, I'll change where I'm distracting for you. I'll
Yeah,
distract
once I finish these
by
machines
good.
over here, I can, you can have it back.
Nah, I'll just distract by good. Okay, I immediately lost Finn. What the fuck? Excuse me, get your ass back over here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, Connie.
It's like, dude,
Thanks for
what the
coming to
fuck?
me. Yeah. Oh, hi, Roger capsule.
Yep.
Connie's talking to Roger.
That's how Pebble died, because he opened the capsule and then got fucking obliterated by Finn.
Tragic.
And because he opened the Roger capsule, I couldn't grab Finn. And so that's how Pebble met his demise.
Honestly, that team was pretty bad except for like the Shelly, the yacht. The yacht was seemed fine actually.
The Astro also
And
seemed pretty fine.
yeah, that's what I said. Oh yeah, and Astra. The 3 were fine, and then everyone else kind of sucked.
Yeah. Which at least this turned into like an actual long run instead of it being like everybody dies at floor 5 and then it's just a duo. It's more like
Yeah.
everybody dies at floor 18 and then it's just a duo.
Yeah, I almost accidentally picked up the Roger capsule. That would have been a
Oh my
stupid mistake.
gosh.
I'm sorry. I didn't. My brain said pick it up, and I looked at it and I'm like, yeah, no.
Yeah, if we get Glisten, I'll have to distract by him, but if we get Glisten and Pebble, we'll have to have him pop. I just
Yeah.
have to make sure that I have to make sure that I know a good hiding spot for Pebble, because I know, I don't think this this area right here is bad. This map is bad for kiting Pebble, actually.
Yeah.
But Astro Explorer is amazing for kiting Pebble.
Just the open areas, pretty much
V's
are.
is too.
The semi-open areas are pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
See, look how fast I'm getting this done. When it's just me. I'm flying solo. I'm flying solo.
I just gotta find. I wonder, like, if this run ends, I wonder if, like, some of the other people that I've had good runs with, I wonder if they'll, be on to join.
Maybe.
Because I don't usually friend people unless if it's with, like, if we get to a really high floor, at least, like, floor 20, I think. Or I'd say, yeah.
Yeah.
And if they're, like, pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm halfway done with the machine, by the way.
Okay.
And it's almost
I'll
done.
be right here. I'll wait for you to get in, and then I'll...
I'm sorry for being slow. A certain Finn slowed me down. Okay, I'm in.
Hi there.
Get your ass in the elevator.
I hit the elevator. Shut the fuck up.
Whoa.
Yeah, like I said, my voice is cracking. It's cracking, and it's not cracking in a good way. It's cracking in a... Am I in the beginnings of getting sick way?
Maybe.
Just know if we get Pebble this floor.
Pebble. I'm joking. No, but I think it is an ink floor.
Listen's here.
Listen's here, though.
This floor kind of sucks, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Oh, there is a band-aid, though, so I will grab that.
I found another band-aid.
Do you want it, or...?
If you want it, you can have it. It's okay.
Because I have a band-aid and a med kit, but the med kit I'm kind of having for, like, emergencies, I guess.
I mean, if you want the band-aid, it's fine. I don't really mind.
There's
I could
another one
probably
right
wait
here
till I
too.
get one from. Oh, never mind. Then I'll take the Band-Aid that I see. Then I guess.
I think I have
I feel like,
everybody. I think.
I'll use my thing in a minute. You have Boxton, Yada, and Cosmo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's everyone then.
Okay.
Apart from Glisten, who's on the run.
Yeah. I'm just distracting by him since you technically have a lower stealth than me because of the diary or the scrapbook. One of those two. You
I
have
mean,
one of them.
the
Diary.
scrapbook lowers your stealth.
Yeah, this
The
is
diary
a
has.
dead end right here. I keep forgetting that room is a dead end. I keep trying to go in the room with the photo of Arthur and Delilah, but it's like. I think
Was there a
this
machine in
area is
there, by the
also.
way?
I do not remember. I was not paying attention to that.
It's okay. I'll look in a minute.
I can't wait until I can actually buy groceries again.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because right now I just have to pay off things like my bike and my shoes. And I'm also waiting for like a thing back from like the interview that I had.
Oh yeah, there was a machine in here.
Oh. Right. There's one next to the good elevator. I'd say save that one for last.
Oh well, I was gonna do the one in the middle after this machine, so that
Yeah.
makes 7. So yeah, it's all good. I'm stuck with the ill.
So do I look like him? Look like him? Do I look like him? Like him? Yeah.
You can technically just leave Glisten alone now, by the way.
Yeah, he's in that room next to the elevator, by the way.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm just gonna distract here.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's kind of funny how some people are like, "Don't distract by the elevator," and it's just like, dude, you guys all have like higher stealth than I do.
Yeah. And then there's me just like, that's just like, yeah, I don't care. Like, whatever.
I have 2 band-aids and a med kit. Let's fucking
I
go.
have a box of chocolate, a band-aid, and a cable.
Yippee.
I had the box of chocolate for like a long time. It's just been in my inventory. From Dandy's shop.
I'm sliding. Bro, I'm sliding.
Oh my god, you are.
I'm sliding.
Dude's tweaking out. Bro's tweaking out.
So are the Christmas tunes icy or like slippery?
No.
Pebble! Oh my gosh. Ah! What's up? Get your ass over here! If you find Twisted, take him to the right side.
Right side of where the good alley is, or the right side of where bad alley is?
If you're looking from, I guess, good, it's the left side.
There.
Although I think I might have them all.
I don't know. I think so.
I think so. Oh. And every time I cry, it's about you. What is it with us getting Pebble on V floor?
I don't know.
Oh, motherfucker, I lagged.
Oh shit.
Sorry. I lagged. Ugh. Oh, I lagged. I picked up 57 Twisteds. And I got 9 items. I got 43 research capsules and 0 machines. Let's fucking go.
Good thing I saved my box of chocolate.
Yeah. I'm sorry about that, dude.
It's okay.
Hey, it was a long run, though. Yada's behind you.
Yeah. Oh. I was more being careful of Pebble, but yeah.
Yeah.
Where you going, girl? Girly
Poppy's behind you. Kind of behind you. Ooh,
Oh.
Pebble's right there. He sees you. Ah! Ah! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
No, Tisha, no.
Oh no.
Tisha. Anyways, while I'm here.
We can watch the VV2?
Yeah.
Can you... These are the plans for V version 2. Do I really need an upgrade? I'm almost as recognizable as Dandy. Kids love trivial prizes. No more tunes deal with... No other tunes deal with this. What will change? Oh my gosh, it's going too fast. Veronica, are you even listening? Oh, we can try to change their mind. It'll help V best I can, or I'll help. Thanks. Oh, oh, it's you.
It's me. Oh,
I didn't see anybody.
what do you mean did I say anybody?
I didn't see any of them whenever you did the thingy. This is a funny view of you.
Oh my god. I'm over here fighting for my life and you're here giggling.
What's up, bro? Oh, oh, oh. They getting chased. They getting chased. Pebbles over there.
Poppy's right there, for fuck's sake.
Objects I've shoved up my arse. Pebbles.
Sid.
Umbrellas.
Sid. Huh?
A box of chocolates.
Now's not the time for a box of chocolate, mate. I got Pebble on my arm. Oh my god.
Slay!
Glizzy.
Glizzy! Glizzy!
Glizzy.
Glizzy! Driving in my car right after a beer. Hey, that beer looks like a beer. DUI, how about you, beer? I'll go 100 beer. A beer.
In a mile. Bubble, don't you fucking
He saw you
all the way.
Oh my gosh.
I'm heavy.
Pebbles scary, I don't wanna be here anymore.
Whoa.
Little do you know, I filled up on gas. I'm a kick your fountain making ass. Pulverized as fuck with my Bergen truck.
You scared me for knowing that song fully, mate.
Let me pull up the full lyrics. Driving in my car right after a beer. Hey, that bump is shaped like a deer. DUI, how about you die? I'll go 100 miles an hour. Little do you know, I filled up on gas. I'ma get your fountain making ass. Pulverized as fuck with my Bergen truck. It seems you're out of luck. Truck. Beers on the
Please
seat,
leave
blood is on the grass.
me
One of it defeat
alone.
with cops right up my
I
ass. You may
don't
have
know
a fleet,
where
but I'm still driving fast. I'll never be passed. I just saved the world from the darkest events. Killed a little girl, better for the town. I gave the struggle wheel whirl, heavy as my crown, but I won't go down. Drive, drive, but I am speed. 7 beers are all. I don't know the tone of this song. Oh my gosh.
I'm over here worried about Pebble, and I'm still scared. I have no idea where he is anymore. Last I knew he was on stage, but now I'm not so sure. Hi, Tisha.
Tisha's right there. Brush is also there too.
Brush don't count. I don't know where Pebble is. That scares me. Or is this a dog? You don't count. You're not a dog, yada. There's a cow on the farm! It's a cow farm! You're gonna find cows!
Oh, he's right there.
Oh, he is right there. Oh my god, not this situation again, please. Please. Not this situation again. Yada, I'd rather have you see me than rather have Pebble see me. Okay? Who saw me? I don't care. You can see me all you want. As long as it's not Pebble.
I just saved the world. My thanks is 30 years to life for that girl to be alive and me to miss my wife. Can't be in a cage. All my flowers gonna die. I have no clue.
Scared.
I'm reading this and it's just I'm gonna start hiding C. I can only cry and mope. There'll be a friend inside of me if I drop the fucking soap. I just want to go home. I wish I hadn't gone stoned. Now I'm stuck behind bars while my wife is getting boned. K. Dot, I'll miss you. Go steal that dark fountain. Also, fuck Sans in this convenience store.
Where's Pebble? What is he doing? Okay, I'm gonna go this way then.
Alright, listen, I can't be arrested. I'm like the Mountain King or some shit in another universe. And that Tyrant has some powers. I'm doing this world a favor.
Sid, I might die.
I think Yada's chasing you.
You know, I think everyone's chasing me at this point. I'm just gonna regain my stamina, so I'm just gonna stay in here and regain it for a minute.
Driving in my
truck. I just have one machine.
Driving in my car right after a beer. Hey, that bump is shaped like a deer. DUI, how about you die? I'll go 100 miles an hour. Little do you know, I filled up on gas. I'ma get your fountain making ass. Pulverized as fuck with my Bergen truck. It seems you're out of luck. Truck! Beers on the seat, blood is on the grass. Won't admit defeat with cops right off my ass. You may have the fleet, but I'm still driving fast. I'll never be passed. I just saved the world. I just saved the world from the darkest founts. Killed a little girl, better for the town. Gave the truck a whirl, heavy is my crown, but I won't go down. Drive. I don't know that.
Oh my god, Tisha, you are not sweeping right there right now. Gang, I gotta get this last machine done.
Tisha's just sweeping.
Oh, and Brushes.
Hi, Brusha.
Hi, Brush.
Oh. Oh.
I hope I can get this machine done before Pebble my heart. Oh my god. Brusha, what the fuck?
For the last
I am gonna grab that. you know, Pebble. I don't know why not. Oh, hi, Pebble. Speaking of the dog.
Hey, Pebble.
I'm gonna use these and I hope that it's extraction.
Oh, fuck
Because he's
you.
gonna be on my
Fuck
ass by the time I hit this
you.
machine.
Fuck you. Fuck
Oh my god.
you. Get
Oh my.
banned. Oh my gosh.
I got hit, by the way, by Poppy, so
I
that's fine.
see.
Yeah. I'm doing great, gang. I'm living my best life. Pebble's in the elevator room. Not Pebble, hurry your ass up.
He's just standing there menacingly. Why is Tisha like running?
How am I supposed to know? I don't even know what they want.
Go, 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 go.
Go, go,
Let's
go.
go. Pebble and Goob for 21.
Imagine. We have practice penny pincher or suppression. I want suppression.
Suppression.
Depression,
Because I'm
I got
fucking
depression.
dead. Let's go.
Driving in my car,
Connie,
I want to
Tisha,
Connie.
Poppy.
I don't want to do this alone.
We're throwing a party, and as you're gasping for the last of air, you'll tra-la-la-la-la, twirling moon dust around. Lung destruction is starting.
Well, if I was at 8 machines, now I'm at 7. She died.
Because I fucking died.
Because you died.
Because I died. Roger's right there, by the way. Tisha's also right there.
Yeah, I see that. Tisha's in the goddamn way. You know what, Connie, where are you? I want to die to you.
Oh.
You in a machine.
She's going that way. I think she's heading towards that machine that you just did.
Connie. Oh, look at that, guys. The machine. I didn't finish it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I got 420 Icker.
You got 420? Nice.
Yeah. I got 420
Oh my gosh,
Icker.
420.
What? Lazy. Stretch. That was a nice stretch.
Nice.
Why are you inside Roger?
Huh?
You're inside Roger.
I'm inside of What do you mean by that? It's loading. It's loading. I'm scared.
You'll see when you're loaded in.
I'm scared. I'm very scared of this now. Why am I inside of him?
I told you.
I don't like this. Get me out of him.
I told you were in Roger. You didn't believe me.
I don't like this.
I'm gonna find a different tune to be. I don't know who to be, like, ever. There's just, like, you know, a lot of tunes.
Man, I didn't realize it. I didn't have the wrench.
Bruh,
I
just buy
both Shelly Fossilian and Sprout Seedly. Those are not those characters. You guys are both Pebble.
That's funny. I'm trying to figure out who to be. You know, I'm gonna spin a wheel.
You're gonna spin a wheel. Oh my gosh, the randomizer wheel. I keep forgetting you store your microphone inside of your head. Like, what do you do? Just fucking pull it out of your ass?
None of your business what I do with my microphone.
Where do you get it from?
Okay, yeah, these are the tunes. Okay, let's see who I get. Who do I get to be? Mostly because I don't know who to be.
Come on, do your idol. Do your idol.
Alright, I'm gonna be Tegan. Okay, 3 movement speed, 2 star stealth, and 3 extraction. Oh,
ABC for For long run, no 2 or 1 star stealth. Oh, it's because you're Louis. That's why. I guess we can't be in that run, guys.
Oh no, it's not like the diary freaking exists, you know?
El
Because even
Macaco!
I have the diary. I
El
have a 2-star.
Macaco! Egg, egg,
Elma!
egg,
See, I have
egg,
2-star
egg,
in,
egg,
I have
egg.
I
You have
have
2-star
2-star
stealth.
in stealth.
I
Yeah,
know.
but I'm using the fucking thing. Technically, I could be in. They let Yada in. I don't see the issue here. They let fucking
Egg,
Yada
egg,
in.
egg, egg, egg,
Egg,
egg,
egg,
egg,
egg,
egg. Where
egg,
the fuck
egg,
did...
egg.
I guess I... No, let me be here. Let me be here.
Fine. Damn.
Here, I'll be vintage, just so that
Yeah, I get you.
we can tell the difference between each other.
I kind of wish,
Never mind,
I
I'll
guess
do solo. What do you mean?
what?
The fuck you mean? We're joining you. You ain't doing a solo. We're joining you, fucker.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
no, let us join you. We're joining you. Actually, let's join this run.
Okay. I feel weird having these
Oh,
trinkets, but
motherfucker. Get out, get out, get out, get out. Let's join this run.
I love how we're joining a random ass fucking run.
Yeah, I don't even know what run it's gonna be. Damn. Let's get out, I guess. Fine. Guys, I swear I'm a good distractor. Guys, I swear. I swear.
It feels weird seeing you in vintage.
I know, right? Please. Please. I swear I'm a good distractor, guys.
Is it because I'm Tegan? Like, is it because I'm Tegan?
Oh.
There goes Coco.
There goes Coco. Bye, Coco.
I bet you they left the game and then just returned to the lobby. Waiting for players. How was the L of the macacos?
Distractor, I swear.
No, you're not. You're a horrible distractor. I'm fucking with you. Razzle Dazzle Berry 99. What a great username.
They're gonna be boxed in.
Hooray! I love how there's a Boxton, a Tegan, and a Louie.
Hell yeah.
I could have been Sprout, but eh.
I could have been my normal one.
It's so weird seeing you as fucking vintage Louie. I hate it.
I don't have a nose anymore.
Oh no, your nose is gone.
My
That's
nose
why.
is
Maybe that's
gone.
why I hate it. Maybe that's why
My
I
nose
hate
is
it.
just gone.
Or just have a nose.
I see Brightney's light.
Oh, it's now 75 tapes to heal instead of 100 for Tegan.
Wait, really?
Has it always been? Yeah.
Holy shit!
I was
I
like,
didn't
hasn't
know
it
that.
always been like 100?
I thought it was 100 too.
Yeah, I think they kind of nerfed it.
They
Nice.
nerfed it? What do you mean? They buffed it?
Oh yeah, I mean buffed. Shut up. Ew, why's the T in my head? That don't look like tea. That looks like, I don't know. It looks disgusting though.
What's Tegan's movement speed?
3-star. I'm basically all 3s except for my stealth.
So similar to Louis.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now I want
Where's
to try
the
distracting as her in the early floors. Bye, Buxton. Bye, Buxton.
Bye me. Bye me.
You've got the diary, right? Or
Yeah, of course I do.
hi, Tegan.
Hi.
Bye, Tegan.
Bye. Get to elevator.
Yoink.
Okay, everyone's at alley. What's that?
What's up?
Why are you staring at me? What the fuck? Bruh.
Dandy, I'm going to fucking rip your feet off and shove them up your goddamn ass.
Damn. Oh yeah, I have 4-star in stamina though.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
Forgot
you'd
about
be a
that.
good distractor. For like
I'm
the
a
early
3-star
floors.
movement speed. Hello.
You'd be a good distractor for the early floors.
Oh
Look
yeah.
at my hearts.
Yeah, but I don't think I would be able to do it, mate.
For the early floors.
I don't think I'd be able to do it, mate.
Brush is in the middle. I am grabbing her because it's R&D. Get the fuck over here.
Snatcher.
I'm trying. Damn.
What? Try harder. I'm messing with you, mate.
And remember, if something happens, it's Salem's fault. Yes,
Huh?
sir.
How is it my
Yes,
fault?
sirree.
What? This is bullcrap. It's because I'm elegant, isn't it?
Yep. Yes,
Pish posh.
sirree.
Pish posh. How could you?
I
Pish
never
posh.
wanted to sleep.
Also, I'm looking at Tegan. She doesn't really look like. Why is she more oval shaped than circular shaped on the
I
head?
don't know. Strange.
Kinda weird.
It's so strange. It's kind of weird, dude.
Kinda odd, bruh.
I never wanted to sleep. Honestly, I feel like if you're if you can distract commons as like a 3-star movement speed whenever you're at 3 stars with like the speed shoes and the dog plush and whatnot, I feel like you'd be able to just, if it's faster, you could distract Pebble, you know?
I mean, I guess, yeah.
So like 3 stars could be just like normal common tunes like Brusha, Tisha, Cosmo, Shrimpo
Sorry,
especially.
I woke up resin does, but that's because I wanted the tapes.
Well,
Just thought you'd like to know.
do you want me to bring Brusha to elevator so you can get
I
tapes?
already grabbed the tapes from Brusha if you forgot at the beginning of the.
Because
Yeah, I think
it's mainly about stamina preservation.
Yeah.
Because if you know how to like preserve your stamina, because then you can like distract.
I don't know how to preserve stamina, mate.
You don't know how to?
Nope.
I do.
I'm messing with you. God, Jesus. Jeez, how could you think that I don't know how to do? There's
Boxen, get in.
Okay, and you can. Yeah. I have 70 tapes.
Should we?
I want blind grab.
I want Lost and Found.
Blind grab.
I want Lost and Found.
I want blind grab.
I want Lost. Fuck you. Fuck you, bitch. I got a protein bar though.
I gotta pop. Cause I'm better than ew, don't. Oh. Dude, it feels weird. I was gonna try highlighting the game Twisted, and I'm like, I can't do that.
What?
I got used to playing with Wii. I tried highlighting the tunes.
I like how bro's literally just doing machines and just looks back and watching me distract them at like three hearts still. Oh man.
Got hit.
Yeah.
Project.
Hey, 3 floors though. That's good. Hey, what's up?
God,
You're in
this
that corner.
feels so slow.
You're in the shrimpo corner.
Losing my mind. I hate
You're in
the
the
slow
shrimpo
show.
corner now.
Losing my mind.
Bro's in the shrimpo corner.
Not even
Bro's not in the shrimpo corner anymore. God damn it. There's one in this corner over here, though. It's a circular. Circular.
Over here?
Over
Oh,
where
yeah,
I am? Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be a girl in that way, you'd wish I could be your girlfriend. I just can't believe I lagged.
On Pebble?
Yeah.
It's fine.
It sucks. It's kind of funny because whenever I put the video for like the second encounter of Pebble, I think it was the second. It was the floor 22 one from last night. Someone commented and was like, "Dude, you need to use your med kit. I'm scared for you." Or no, it was the very very last one. It was the third time, because that's the time that I died. Boxton, where are you going? He just went down the other hallway.
I'm tired of being slow.
Privilege of being
What about extracting? I mean, I'm fine with it.
And you're probably thinking, I wish I could be a girl in that way. You wish I could be your girlfriend. Ooh. I don't think I'll have 88 if I use a protein bar, though. I definitely wouldn't have 88 if I used a protein bar. It's really nice. I'd really want that, though. It looks like you've got a bald spot.
Right, mate. Right. I'm just gonna.
Lorly.
Oh, hi, Blot. Oh.
I saw someone else over here. I think.
Bottle of pop, mid.
Hi, Blot. Okay, I think I just saw Cosmo walking, but they were kind of behind Blot. So I'm gonna catch up to him from the other side, maybe? Oh, yep. There you are. Lately, I've been wishing I were weighing 99, wearing thigh highs. I'll be your meet your anesthetic criteria. Let me be the. Man, that means I don't have a backup distractor. Yeah, I'm pretty sure one of my wisdom teeth are growing in.
That felt so random.
What?
That felt so random.
It is, but, like, it hurts.
Oh my god. Hi, Blot. Blot, you're blocking a machine.
He's just cock-blocking a machine there?
He is! And the entrance of the doorway! Bruh, move your hand, please. Sure. I'm gonna need you to move.
It'd be cool if there's, like, a first-person mode. Just playing it in first person. It would be annoying, yes, but at the same time, it would be kind of, like, terrifying.
I got to the machine. I almost got hit. Anything for this machine?
Just be aware, like, try not to finish it with his hands still right there.
Dude, I can finish it and be fine. It's fine. Bro's trying to get me to go towards his hand. He's trying to. Oh.
He's trying to riz you up, bro.
There goes his hand. I'm almost done with the machine, by the way.
Okay.
Larson saw me getting the machine.
Don't be there. Okay, it's not there. Oh, hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up?
Ah,
I like your square head. What? I like that your head is a square. I mean, thanks? No problem.
I was like, no, I was like, huh? Like, it's sort of an old.
Floor leak again.
Bro, we didn't have a floor leak till now. What the fuck you mean again?
I'm pretty sure. Oh my god!
Oh,
I was
hi,
like,
dude.
oh, I got seen by someone. Oh, good heavens!
Careful, Cosmo's walking on someone.
I know. I'm in a corner.
I love that you're not.
2,
Thank you for
3,
coming out.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ooh. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That was at 9! That was not at 10! 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Come on, Cosmo. Come on. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's doing it at 9. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Finally! Okay, I need to move out of this area so that they can do the machine. Or so that y'all can do the machine. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Fuck. Whew! 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to lose them.
Yep. And I think Boston is taking a long way back towards LA. No, he's at LA.
Owie. 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 Ow. Ow. Owie. He hurted me.
You act like I can heal you.
He hurted me. He hurted me.
What do you want me to do about that? What do you do about that?
He hurted me.
What do you want me to do about it?
He hurted me. Owie. Owie. That hurted. See you later.
What the fuck do you want me to do about it, mate? Sheesh. Kick your poppin'. Go. Anyway, I'm gonna go on a journey. Oh my god, hi Finn.
Who he's here besides Finn, apparently. I'm at Broken, though.
Okay, I'm coming. I got Finn.
Oh, Louie. I have Louie. There's also a machine over here.
Okay.
Careful, I am gonna turn that corner. Got him. Now I can safely turn corners. I can't see shit.
I bet I can't really either. Well, if you're like, I can safely turn corners, it slightly slows down because of
Because Finn keeps on trying to hug the wall.
Yeah. Oh, there's thunder.
Thunder?
Nice. Yeah, it's
Is it
raining
raining?
outside, mate.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why I'm a little bit eepy. The rain makes me eepy.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
It's so nice when it rains, but I don't really like the thunder. But I still get tired because the fucking
Right.
rain.
I need to see like what the weather is right now because I know it was supposed to rain like all day today, but it's not raining.
Bro, check my weather. It's been
Holy
raining for
shit,
like
it's already 6 p.m. What the fuck?
it was raining yesterday and today. I think it's raining again tomorrow, actually.
Yeah, it's supposed to rain all week for me as well.
Oh, let me look at the weather.
I had to
Like
ride my bike
harder.
to work yesterday and it was raining.
Oof.
That shit sucked ass. It sucked booty cheeks, guys.
Let me look at the weather app. Hold up. Hey, it's 65 degrees outside. Let's go.
Damn, it's 71.
Well, it was 58, so I guess it went up.
Nice. Oh, we didn't get to elevator.
No, I don't think we're gonna get one. I mean, I haven't really been doing it either.
Right. Hi, Boxton. What's up?
Oh yeah, it's supposed to rain till Saturday.
I'm really hoping I gamble a, like, Band-Aid or something.
Girl wants to gamble and want me.
I just want some health, bro. Fuck, I
got a
got
box of chocolate.
extraction speed.
I got 2 boxes of chocolates in my inventory now.
I don't need this shit.
That's tragic, mate.
Hi, Boxton. It's Roger and Boxton. I gotta wait for him to catch up, bro. What the fuck? I don't like this.
You're fine.
It's literally just Roger and Boxton. I like how a lot of people's first mains are either Shelly or Sprout, and it's just I'm just here like I don't have either of them. I have everybody else. My first main was Astro. He was the most expensive, but that was my first main. Thank you, Ko-Fi Bot. Why is my chat so dead today? Like, chat. Y'all need to start chatting more. It's dead.
Okay, sorry, I'll chat more.
Well, you're in the game with me right now.
Yeah, but I'm like also like I'm like the only one in chat. We are
literally. I need more people in my chat. More people need to come in my chat. Sad times.
I don't know how I randomly get random people in chat. I just kind of just don't really do shit. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I had two new chatters when I was doing pressure. Dude,
I
I'm about
haven't
ready to
played
pass
pressure
out.
in a while, honestly.
I'm gonna pass out from this weather, man.
You remember the Mimic or something? That one game on Roblox that we were playing for like a while?
Yeah.
Apparently they updated their models.
Yeah,
or
they
something.
did.
Like how much did we miss? Like we haven't played that in forever.
I mean, true.
Are y'all getting to the elevator? Oh my god, Boxton's all the way back there. What the hell?
I was picking stuff up.
I could have sworn I saw him like around the front.
No, that was me.
Oh my gosh. I have 2 bottles of pop now.
I have 1 bottle of pop, 2 boxes of chocolate, and still enough tips to heal one. That's me right now with this weather.
It's just cloudy right now. It kind of sucks. But it's supposed to start raining at like 6 a.m., bro. I have to go to work at like 7:30 in the morning.
Rip.
He
My computer was
explodes.
about to die.
I shouldn't
I didn't realize that the charger came unplugged and I didn't even realize it till now.
Ooh, Band-Aid. Yay!
Yay!
Gosh, I had gotten ill. That was terrifying.
Bro got the ailment.
Should I heal now?
I mean, if you want to.
I kind of wanna.
Then do it.
Yay! There is one at, Broken, by the way.
Okay, you want me to get it, or do you want Boxton to get it?
Probably you. I don't know. Either one. I'm just letting you know. It's a regular one. It's not a circular one.
Okay, I'm coming.
Everybody's like, we want new machine types! Adds new machine types. We don't like that!
Literally.
Honestly, I kind of really like them. Like, I'm not used to it, especially, like, whenever you have, like, a lower skill check. But at the same time, it's, like, nice.
It's not bad, but it's not good.
The temple.
Like, I used to hate it, but now I'm kind of in the middle about it now. Just like the regular machines, I'm like, eh.
I just like distracting.
I know you do.
Yeah.
I like extracting.
I like distracting. With a D.
Both are boring, but I like extracting more.
What do you mean both are boring? I like to distract, and it's not boring.
Mm-hmm.
I could run.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Triple, what the fuck? He just immediately decided to go to Boxton.
That's tragic.
Like, bro, I turned a corner a little tiny bit too fast. He's almost done with the last, by the way.
I'm at the elevator anyways.
Alright. Hahaha. Oh my gosh, I'm ill. I'm ill, bro. I'm ill and I'm ill. I think I can handle it. I don't want everybody to fucking die though, so try not to die. I don't think I've heard Boxton fail a skill check.
I'm tired. I'm gonna fail my skill checks, mate.
Wake up.
I'm gonna
Wake up.
This weather's making
Wake
me
up.
Weather's making me
Wake
eepy, though.
up.
But the weather is making me eepy.
Wake up.
Hey.
He's right there.
No, Boxman.
Oh. You made it seem like he was right there.
You're welcome. No, he's over there, though. Near where you're going.
Ooh.
There's also an airport over here.
I don't think that's a good idea.
I think that's a great idea. I think you should pick it up and use it. Why are we whispering? I think it's a pretty perfect idea. I think we should totally grab it. You should not do that. I think we should grab it.
Don't.
I don't want to grab
Yada's somewhere.
I don't... Oh shit, I think... Oh shit! I got Cosmo on me.
I'm at Broken.
Did someone use the fucking air horn?
No.
Or was it the children outside my home? It was the children outside. Dude, I live in an apartment complex. Yes.
Same.
What? What the fuck, Cosmo?
I'm in middle.
I think I just got spotted by
Yada.
Oh. I thought it was fucking Cosmo again.
Why are we whispering? Instructions unclear, dying.
Oh
I'm
shit, he's walking.
in middle.
Oh shit. He's walking towards me. fuck are you whispering?
I don't know, you were the one that started whispering.
No, I wasn't. You started it. Oh my god, he turned around.
If Boxton fails a skill check, I'm fucking dead. I'm going to move.
Wait, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah, I think that's also a good idea.
I didn't finish the one machine. The good Ellie's, the one that's
My lights aren't working, I can barely see.
I don't know what the fuck you want from me then, mate. I'm a little scared. I kind of don't want to do that. I kind of want to...
At least I have the twisteds for y'all.
Yeah, but if we fail our skill check, we're so fucked.
Try not to get fucked.
I didn't mean it like that.
I'm gonna move away from this corner and go to the opposite corner.
I don't want to be touched by a snake clock thing, okay? Oh, hey, what's up? I almost failed my skill check.
Don't do that.
I was literally a second off from failing it.
He's coming by here. You better get away.
Yeah, but what if I want to die?
No.
What if I want to go to sleep?
No.
And if I want to take a nap?
No.
This weather's nice.
No.
What if I just took a, like, 1 hour nap?
Motherfucker, I'm gonna fuck you up, Yada. I swear to God, I'm gonna fuck you up.
Damn, alright, relax. Sheesh.
I'm gonna rip you open. I'm gonna fucking take all of the candy out of your guts and insides and...
I don't know who was worse at being mean to Yada, but now I think it's you. Oh shit, there.
I was about to say eat her out, but I was like,
That's the right term you should use.
Not the right term. I don't think eating Yada out on a tile floor is a good idea.
How did you not see me? You know what? I'll take it. Thunder, relax, alright? Calm down.
Thunder.
I don't like
Thunder
thunder.
won the championships.
Huh?
For basketball.
He's heading towards the office, but taking a long way from what it looks like.
See if he turns around. Turn around every now and then. Why the fuck is Boxton at 1 heart?
Do you have everyone?
Yeah, I've got everybody. I think I just lost Cosmo though.
Probably Cosmo then.
I think I lost him again though. I definitely lost him. I can't see shit.
Why is
I don't know where he is.
Why is Dial walking towards me? I'm okay,
I lost 2 people. Or I lost 1.
Just letting you know, Dial is a little bit aggro. Just a wee bit. Just a smidgen. Oh, for fuck's sake. God damn it, Cosmo!
I'm sorry.
Okay. It's okay. I healed myself. Don't worry about it. It's all good, mate. Like, I can heal myself. It's okay. Oh, careful about Dial, though.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Did you die?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oopsies. Boxing just standing there like, what the fuck just happened? What the fuck just happened? I'm sorry, bro. I panicked because I got seen by him and then ran immediately into Yada.
That
I just panicked.
Horrifying, mate. My soul just left my body.
Sorry. This is a really funny angle of you, though.
the fuck is up with the funny angle, mate?
This is hilarious. This is a
hailing?
hilarious angle.
I thought it was hailing.
Oh.
Dude, my state is known as bipolar, so you
Same.
know. Oh hell yeah. The bipolar states.
Yeah.
Is that hailing now?
What?
What?
Cosmo just saw you.
Where the fuck did you come from?
Cosmo came out of the void.
I know he did. I think he kind of saved me
the guy
from.
was kind of back there.
Yeah, I know. I'm just gonna grab this tape though so I can heal myself.
Hell yeah!
Oh my god!
Oh no!
Bro turned around! Bro's like, I smelled something.
I heard you! Dude, I heard you fucking fail that.
I didn't fail it.
I heard it failing.
I didn't fail it though. I didn't fail anything.
I'm gonna check on Boxton.
Otherwise he'd be running. What do you mean I failed my check?
I don't know why, I heard you fail it.
No, that was my freaking computer, mate.
Oh. I'm watching Boxton. He's filling up this machine.
Nice. This is gonna take forever. I kind of want to die. I kind of want to run around.
Oh, he's right behind Boxton. Boxton is like inching his way away.
What if I just failed my skill check?
Do it.
Oh, I almost did.
Do it. Do it.
Okay. And then I'll wait here, and then I'll use my box of chocolates. You don't count Boxton. Oh my god. Boxton, what the fuck?
Oh my gosh. Oh!
Yay! I died. Let's
Oopsies.
go.
Bro's like, congratulations, Boxton. You just outlived your teammates. How do you feel like about that? You have to do about what? Oh, he just failed it. He just failed skill check too. Oh shit. Oh shit. He's getting chased by Yada too.
I'll be right back. I think I gotta turn off my. I mean, not turn off, but close my window. I'll be right back.
Okay. Slave! Bye, Boxton. Don't ask me what I mean. Where do you get off being so goddamn beautiful? Oh Lord. Da-da-da-da-da. Touch of an anesthesia. What the fuck? Yonder. What should we do? Something's fishy. I watch them watch my heart. Gumball horror.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm kind of done for a bit.
Alright. Beat up Gubby in his own home? Holy
That's
shit.
so
Minigun! Nice.
mean.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. This is what we're doing. Hell yeah.
Bruh.
I used to play this, like, these types of games, like, whenever I was, little, like, on the phone.
Who's beating up a rabbit right now?
Weapons? What can I get?
Oh my god.
Come on.
Bruh.
There we go. Baseball.
Alright, see ya, mate.
Oh. That didn't do anything good. Oh, it's a rabbit. It's Gubby. You get to beat him up. Magic? Oh. Why is he just sliding like that? So I just do that? What? Oh! Damn. What if I do it like this? Damn! Finish the thing. Wait. Hell yeah. We're beating this fucker up. We're beating this fucker up. Hand. Grab hand. Wait, there's a slap hand? Fist hand? We're beating this fucker up, bro. We're beating this. We're beating this fucker up. We're beating this fucker up, bro. What does the slap hand do? What does the slap hand do? It's not as fun as the fist hand. Oh my god, we're just going. What does this do? Gas station? What the hell is the gas station? What? That's the ammo. What's the gas station do? Is it 10 gallons? Okay, I've got gas. You can get multiple? I don't know why I'm so like... We're gonna beat this fucker up, bro. We're beating this fucker up. What weapons can I get? I've got 7,000. I can get a bowling ball. Damn! 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 God damn! What other weapons can we get? A minigun. I want to get the minigun. I think this is the best one. I love it. What does this do? Oh! That's what that does. Oh, okay. We're just sawing him. Oh my god. Okay, that's what that does. I want to get that flamethrower. I want to get that flamethrower. Damn! Damn! I'm punching him. I'm literally just punching him. That's all I'm doing. This is the best moneymaker. This is literally the best moneymaker I've got. Look at this shit. Look at this. You just punch him. You literally just punch him. That's all you do. That's all you do. Literally. What does the stream become? It's just it was be a good dandy little distractor, and then suddenly I need to get a new mouse pad. You can't even see him half the time. That's literally how bad this is. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Get him! Get him! We're punting this fucker to the moon. I'm gonna save up for airstrikes. We got 17,000, 18,000. Come on. Come on, 19,000. 1,000 more to go. Go. Get him, get him, get him, get him, get him. I think I need to get more for gas as well, so... We're just gonna... Airstrikes? Airstrikes. 10 gallons. Up, bro. We're beating this. Is there any like more things? I want to try the taser actually. This is literally what we're going. This is literally what we're doing. Now. I don't care that I'm wasting money. This is hilarious. All while Washing Machine Heart's playing. And then we're gonna go back to the fist. Smack the shit out of him some more. I love that you can just do this. I love that you can just do this. I love this game now. I love this. This is probably going to be my favorite game now. This is going to be my favorite game. You can just beat the shit out of him. He thinks he's gonna get a break? No. Did I explode him? Did I kill him? Wait, did I kill him and then did he, like, come back? Get him, get him, get him, beat him up, beat his ass. Oh my gosh. Hydrate? Okay, where am I? Hydration. Where's my hydration? Oh, there's hydration. Finished my soda. Okay, I'll stretch too. He gets a break because I'm stretching. He's like going towards the hand while I'm stretching too. He's going towards it. He knows what's gonna happen. Beat his ass. Beat his ass. I'm beating his ass. Oh my gosh. This is hilarious. I love this. I love this. I love this. I'm not even paying attention to the amount of money I've got now. We can get. Oh my gosh. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? This is what this stream has become now, by the way. I missed. Oh my gosh. Oh yes, thank you for the hydrate and the stretch. Meanwhile... Meanwhile, that's happening. Anyways. Gobi has ties with the mafia? What else is there? What else is there? I can't get anything right now. I'm just gonna slap it now. Then I'll... This is the fastest way. You just go crazy. That's all you do. You just go crazy. That's literally all you do. It's like that one game whenever I was like a kid. We were just playing that. Oh my gosh, what I... Anyways, I think I'm gonna go ahead and go. I'm gonna go ahead and go. Thank you, Ko-Fi Bot. Thank you. Let's go ahead and raid someone. Oh, I love that. Stay with me, meet you on the other side. I'm trying to find someone to raid real quick. That was hilarious. Eggs. I need to make a rock one so that y'all can be able to rock. You can, you know, I'm trying to, why can't I explain it? Eggs and waffles? We're gonna raid you. Alright, I hope y'all have a nice day, night, whatever time it is for you. Be nice, be cool, be chill to the raidee. Make sure to throw rocks. If you guys have not been in a raid before, then you are throwing rocks at them. You are pelting them with rocks.